ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to all of you. In international news, it's turning into a ping-pong game between Germany and Russia. Donald Trump, very concerned, is quickly and urgently calling for negotiations. Automatically, Russia, which has announced and named the NATO member country that will be the first target, this is one of the rare times yesterday. Russia specifically named Germany. And yesterday, it was through the vice president of the Russian Security Council. Today is the turn of the president of the Defense Committee of the Russian State Duma. The president of the Defense Committee of the Russian State Duma. For those who don't know, the Russian State Duma is the Russian parliament. So these are the representatives of the people who, under normal circumstances, speak freely and very independently. So this defense committee decides everything related to strategy, or at least it authorizes, in the name of the Russian people, the executive, meaning Vladimir Putin, and his administration to either go to war or make peace with any other state. And so it is in this context that this gentleman, whose name I will give you in a moment, the president of the Defense Committee of the Russian State Duma, has just provided the details. How are they going to do this thing to Germany? I want you to remember this. We're going to replace the word, war. We're going to replace it with thing. Every time I say thing, you'll be able to understand better, since there are words that are forbidden to say here on this platform. So how are they going to do the thing to Germany? They're making this move, and it's becoming worrisome. Washington, the White House, is really in total confusion. Donald Trump has therefore demanded immediate negotiations, and these negotiations could start on June 2nd. I'm putting it in the conditional because they haven't reached an agreement yet, because Russia has demanded that its requirements be known in advance before going, since they had the experience of the unsuccessful meeting and negotiation on May 16th in Istanbul. Russia no longer wants to waste its time unnecessarily. So, ladies and gentlemen, in this video conference, that is of course what we are going to talk about. But before we continue, I ask you to share the video conference as much as possible, and don't forget to leave lots of comments. If you don't have anything special to say, you can write our political slogan in the comments. You write, "Today is already to win." Or you can write, Moyen Express, since we should talk a lot about Moyen Express because it's this digital platform born in Africa, more precisely in Burkina Faso, that will soon defeat Amazon. Yes, we are proud to have something of our own. Let's dive deeper, ladies and gentlemen. Let's dive deeper. Beyond this aspect, beyond even the details that have been given, we have the president of the commission, the president of the Russian Security Council, Sergei Shoigu, former Minister of Defense, who is setting the tone for what Germany is going to feel, for what Germany is going to experience. And these colors include the participation of North Korean soldiers. So, he's going to rely on the previous participation of North Korean soldiers, who made it possible to carry out the proper cleanup in Kursk. So, let's go deeper, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. So, the significant information, the official statement made by the Russian State Duma is specifically made by Andrei Kartapolov. Andrei Kartapolov is the esteemed chairman of the Defense Committee of the Russian State Duma, a crucial and influential body within the Russian political structure. He says this gentleman you see here wearing a hat, he says, Russia is ready to shoot down German Taurus missiles and to strike not only their launch site, but also their point of origin. So, the Russian State Duma is providing the details. That is to say, they are not going to limit themselves to just the missiles. First, they will target the missile, they will destroy it. As if all that weren't enough, they will do this not only at the sites from which they were launched, since Russia already has almost all the geographic coordinates of the potential sites from which these missiles could be launched, but also at their point of origin. So if the Taurus missile comes from Germany but was launched from Ukraine, the site from which it was launched will be destroyed. And then its point of origin, if it's a factory that manufactures the Taurus missiles, in Germany, they will also target that site. So Moscow is very committed. These are not Vladimir Putin's statements. Because when it's Putin's statements, they are often considered political declarations. When I say they, I mean the Westerners here, who tend to take them a bit lightly. So here is an excerpt from his statement. Now, beyond this part of his statement, we have Sergei Shoigu, the chairman of the Russian Security Council, who is setting the tone, congratulating the North Korean soldiers for what they did in Kursk. President Vladimir Putin had already congratulated and thanked the North Korean soldiers. And when they had just recently completed the cleanup properly. But why? This time, is the chairman of the Security Council once again expressing his thanks. Why? It means he is preparing for something else. Thanking them, encouraging them to continue, since there is a major offensive coming on behalf of Russia, which will surely be directed against Ukraine. So they really need to be put at ease. So, I would like to express special gratitude for the achievement of the Korean soldiers who, alongside the Russian soldiers, defended the Kursk region as if it were their own homeland. And it stops there. So, from that point, the United States of America calls on Russia to negotiate in good faith immediately. There you have it. Since they have made a new proposal for talks, Russia has made a new proposal for direct talks with Kiev. The United States is calling on Russia to negotiate in very good faith. According to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Sergei Lavrov, he says that the delegation that participated in the unsuccessful negotiations on May 16 was ready to present a peace memorandum. And so the peace memorandum will be presented on the 2nd of June. Ukraine demanded to know the Russian conditions in advance. And Russia also wants these conditions to be known instead of wasting time unnecessarily. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that was the top international news. So thank you for sharing it as much as possible. I'll be back with you later by the grace of Almighty God with more news. This was the voice of your one and only Samouraï.